this keep this as the main window on my screen. Now, next thing, when you do have Flash Media Encoder open, you will want to. I keep audio preview enabled. It doesn't affect your system resources, but it helps me fine tune my volume. You see, when you encode the video to send to JTV, if your volume's constantly at the top here, it's like basically going above the bar, it will cause a distortion in the volume. It will. So if you want, so even though the volume's louder, it'll cause a distortion in the sound. So I try to keep my voice around mid right here when I'm talking to about here. Gameplay can be up here, like shooting and everything, big explosions. You'll almost never want it to be all the way up here, because if it's constantly up here, you're gonna hear a distortion. I'll come back to all these settings later, but just give me 1 second. So once you're in here, you can file, add camera, deck link. I already have it here. You can right click, adjust color settings. You can make it black and white, brightness. There's a lot of stuff you can do here. You can make it look cool. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Ooh, trippy. That's actually sort of trippy. Well, you can do multiple things. You can add another camera. This is my webcam, which is currently on the ground for some reason. Don't know, but just click on it. You want to get rid of it? Just click on it. Hit the delete button on your keyboard. It should be DEL. So now that that's gone, I'm just gonna minimize it so you can see the screen. Now, in order to make sure you get the right settings for your setup, you need to know your speed test. You're gonna need to. It's getting long for a video. You're gonna need to open this up. Go to speedtest.net. Run a speed test. I have a great connection. I love Verizon Fios. I rate it 5 stars every time I come here because it's awesome. Just click. You don't even have to choose a server. Just click the golden star. It'll choose the best server near you. As you can see, I have 19 download, but this will not affect your stream. Download does not affect you at all. It's entirely about upload. Right now, I see it jumped from 1 to 3. Sometimes it needs a bit of time to get full access. Right now, I'm averaging about 4.5. What I'm paying for is 5. That's pretty good. So, this translates directly into Flash Media Encoder. That means if I want to stream, I can stream at 4,000 kilobits per second right now, because it's 4.5 megabits. I won't get into the difference between megabit and megabyte. You can look that up. So close that out. Now you figured out your upload speed. It's time to figure out what resolution you want. Basically, if you use a resolution too high, like say I want to do 1980 by 720, yeah, 1980 by 1080. You would need about 10,000 kilobits per second to do full 1080p. Not even I can do that. So you will need to, because of the way, in most cases use it H.264. The way it works, it sends a single frame. I'll talk about it right now. It sends a single frame called a keyframe, which means each and basically takes a JPEG of the frame you're on, sends it to the server, and each viewer views it. Sometimes you see like streams that have one clear frame and that gets really pixelated, then another clear frame like a second or two later. That's the keyframe. If you have a decent processor, change your profile from baseline to main. It will allow you to send better quality video using a bit less bandwidth, not too much less, but a bit less. And 720p video is between 4.1 and 3.0. Anywhere between there, I really don't see a difference. I just set it 4.1 just because. And if you have a high enough bandwidth, set your keyframe to 1 second. If not, set it 2 to 3. If it's really low, maybe 5. But the more keyframes you have, the higher quality it will be. But it will use up more bandwidth and cause more bandwidth spikes. Now, once you close that out, you can set your frame rate here to 1, and I can hit start. But it'll be entirely dependent on what you choose in here. If your frame rate is 60, and you choose 1 in here, it's going to broadcast at 60. If you choose 2 in here, but put 60 in here, it's still going to broadcast at 2. It's entirely dependent on the source. The source is frames per second. So, but I just keep it at 30 because just to make things simple, I know this is 30, I know this is 30. Now, it may seem counterintuitive to you, but it will actually use less CPU, that's key, resources to have it set. If you're inputting 720p, have it set to 720p. You're thinking, well, how is that possible? Why don't I just put it down and have it use less resources? The reason why is because if you leave it like this program will not encode the video. It will basically just puts the video into here and then changes it, basically just changes a bit of the settings, so which will allow Flash Media Encoder to view it at the correct size. But if you set it to, say, resolution 640 by 400, you're going to use CPU resources because this will now be converting the video. It will be formatting the video, but you don't want 2 programs doing that because this, no matter what resolution you input, you could be inputting 720, output 720. It's still converting the video because it needs to stream it using the H.264 format. So that's why it will actually use less CPU resources if you have it set to what you are inputting. So that's why I have it as this. So that's why my input is 1280 by 720. I use 640 by 360. I believe the JTV window is 650 by, or no, it's like 600 by 350 or some random number like that. But this is pretty close to it, and it's a standard pixel resolution, and it's nice, easy, simple. It's great. So, and you can go into here, I can type in 640 by 360. It says it's good, and it says I only need 1005 kilobits per second at average motion. Well, that's the key, average motion. If you set to low, like say you just have some text, but you want 640 by 360 of some text, you can set to this and it'll look just fine. But if you're playing Call of Duty, Halo, whatever, you're going to see pixelation if you use 500 kilobits for this, which is why I use 1250. I mean, most games are usually fast motion, but I don't have the bandwidth to do that. 2000, no one's going to be able to watch it. So I use average, but I give it a bit of headroom. I give it a bit extra, so that in case a few frames out of it, it needs that extra resolution, it needs that extra bandwidth to send the data, it'll have it. Now, next thing, MP3 is a terrible format. I'm sorry, but it is. But the problem is, when you choose H.264, this is the only option you have. It will not give you AAC or HEAAC. This is actually a paid plugin that costs $500. I'm using currently a trial for it, but it's like an unlocked trial. It doesn't have the normal restrictions of that trial. But going past that, it's still a trial. It's only temporary for me, but it allows you to send high quality video. Here, let me show you. MP3, stereo, 4400, high quality. It wants you to use 320 kilobits per second. No one, in my experience in JTV, sets their audio this high, and a lot use the 44.1 kilohertz. Guess what it is for AAC? 192. That's almost half, and it's even better quality. So it's basically half the bandwidth, but better quality. So when you open this up, it's going to be set to default AAC. You're going to need to change it to MP3. Now, most casters will not, most viewers do not see the difference between stereo and mono. So if you want higher quality, but you don't want to use this much of your bandwidth, some people, this is their video bandwidth, by the way.